Hello and welcome to the TechGig virtual panel discussion. I am Sukriti Agarwal and I'm here with a stellar panel to talk about the growth strategies for software developers today. India's biggest technology community, TechGig, keeps hosting these discussions among industry wikis to bring you the insights on what's new and trending in the jobs, recruitment, and upskilling domain. The push for innovation in the technology sector is unlike any other, which is a big reason why software developers are in such a high demand today. According to the Bureau of Labor Stats, the demand for software developers is expected to grow by 22% from 2019 to 2029. That's a lot, faster than the average growth than anybody could anticipate maybe 2 to 3 years back. And being a software developer comes with its own quirks. A good and a secure future with almost abundant scope in career growth does sound very pleasant, but all of this, is backed by years of skill development and, the strategies that you play. Nowadays, the competition is tough as ever, and although the demand for developers is rising, not all are accepted due to the high skill level requirements and the competition in the market, as I mentioned earlier. So to discuss the growth strategies for software developers to sustain in this competitive and edgy market, I have the industry experts here to share their advice based on their experiences, and who's going to, we're going to talk about the strategies that can help you, as software developers to build up your career. Folks, please join me in welcoming Suresh Ramanan, who is the Managing Principal, India's Business Technology Head, ZF Associates. Dinesh Wadhwani, Senior Director of Engineering from NICE. Pramida Tumma, who is the Principal Consultant, Thoughtworks. And Varsha Agarwal, Director, IT, VMware. Thank you so much, our eminent panelists, for joining us for this conversation. I am so delighted to have each one of you joining me for this, conversation where we'll be addressing the growth strategies for software developers, our audience today. Before we go ahead, I would request each one of you to please go ahead and introduce yourself and what you're looking forward to in terms of the conversation today. So let's begin with you, Dinesh.
Thanks a lot, Sukriti. This is a wonderful discussion. My name is Dinesh Wadhwani. I'm a Senior Director at NICE Systems in Pune. NICE Limited, as a lot of you know, is one of the biggest players in the customer engagement and financial fraud-related softwares. We have more than about 85 of the top 100 customers and more than 25,000 customers worldwide. I'm responsible for one of their verticals, which is customer experience. And I manage all the end-to-end delivery for a suite of products within this domain. This is a wonderful discussion. I'm looking forward to it. I really want to see how are my peers trying to handle the major problem of bringing up their newest staff. Their staff has changed drastically, especially the last 3 years have been really amazing, and how they have shaped or reshaped the world in a way of words. But at the same time, I would like to brainstorm and see how we can exchange ideas and learn from each other's experience today. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Sukriti.
Lovely. Thanks, Dinesh, so much. Pramida.
Hi everyone. Yes. I'm Pramida. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, Pramida, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
So I have more than 13 plus years of experience in the IT industry. I have worked on various domains, and currently I am with Thoughtworks as principal consultant, where I am leading high growth teams or accounts currently in different domains. I am also office tech principal for Hyderabad office in Thoughtworks, where I will be leading the technical visioning for the complete office in the staff in the Hyderabad itself. Actually. So I'm really excited to be part of this discussion because this is really close to my heart. Because this I always strive to saying that how upscaling or reskilling or growth helps in one's career, and also to my mentees. Also, I keep telling them, and this is one of the things which we regularly do in my day-to-day life. So I'm really excited to be part of this discussion and share my experiences, and also listen to others and get to know if I can learn something and implement something in my day-to-day life. Actually,
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pramida. Suresh?
Hi, my name is Suresh Ramanan. I've been in the industry for the last 30 years now, spanning across different geographies. Spent a lot of time outside India and within India. We spoke about this, sometime back, where that, I've started my career more with mainframes and COBOL, transitioned over to, databases and DBA kind of roles, then moved over to Java and other technologies, and now recently with AI. Our company really does, I'm part of ZS Associates now. I just completed my 10 years at ZS. And before that, I was about 10 years at Cognizant Technologies. And I'm seeing the, big difference between how different companies approach same, the question being technology, how do you approach these different things? Overall, lot of things that I also agree. It'll be great to learn from other people in the audience, as well as the peer panelist group. For me, this is exciting because for a long time, India has actually maintained the leadership position. Software engineers have actually come, since the days 20 years back, 30 years back, that India has been the hub. And if we need to retain that leadership position in the market, and we being the primary partner for many clients, Fortune 100, Fortune 500, then we need to be at the cutting edge of technology. And there's always this question of whether business is disrupting technology or technology is disrupting business. It's a chicken and egg situation, but if you see more recently in the last 5-6 years, all leadership positions in all the big firms, especially big tech, are all being done by India originated folks, and technology is actually driving a lot of this disruption. So it'll be great if our next generation of technologists continue to build and hone these skills, and good ways to find out how to be on the cutting edge of technology.
Thank you, Suresh. I'm sure what we're going to discuss today is going to be fruitful, and based on all your experiences, each one of you, and the kind of recruitment strategies and the business objective we are all a part of, I think it's going to be a fruitful discussion, and we'll be able to help the audience at least think of ways that they can improve themselves. Varsha, I'll move to you now.
Varsha, you're on mute.
Hey, good. Hey, this is Varsha, and I am part of VMware right now. Before that, I was in consulting for quite a few years, total around 20 plus years of industry experience. And I have worked on multiple domains, primarily now into sales and marketing, but and into cloud native technologies a lot. And yeah, before that, I have built a customer engagement platform, customer communication platforms. We did the thought leadership for the mobile application, internal and external, for VMware. So I was responsible for that. I enjoy mentoring and coaching people. And so I do that in my personal as well as in my professional space. The other thing which is very, very close to my heart is give back. And I say that in all forums that I enjoy working and doing my bit for people with disability, which is taking courses, taking workshops, and mentoring and coaching them, whatever I can do. And proud to be part of, VMware, which is doing a culture of innovation and efficiency in VMware, as well as to the external world also. And the key thing which I focus on, and which probably I am looking forward to actually give back and plus learn from this particular discussion, is how can we innovate and how can we find out creative solutions for the same problems, whatever we are, all of us are facing. COVID has made us learn a lot of things to do in different ways. So I think everybody is in creative boom right now. And yeah, today's generation is actually already very, very smart. So yeah, looking forward to the discussion today.
Thank you so much, Varsha. I'm equally excited to, actually put up the questions that I have on the forum and get the answers from each one of you. And I'm sure the use cases, the strategies, whatever we're going to discuss today is going to be helpful for each other to understand what others are doing and how can, it can be a motivation for us, and how we can adopt them and do things better when it comes to us. So let's just quickly move to the questions now. Suresh, I would like to begin with you. How do you think technical skills play a very crucial role for the growth of software developers in today's time?
That's a great question to start. And, I would say when we say technical skills, a lot of people think about tools, and I think first and foremost, we need to understand the difference between tools and technology, because technology will stay, tools will keep changing, and many folks think becoming a tool guru is good enough because I can play on this tool. But I think what's happening in the landscape of changes in technology that we are seeing today, it's you need to be very adaptive and very fast. You will not be able to pick up these skills if you're a one tool, one trick pony. We need to be, if you're foundationally strong on technology, it'll actually make a lot more difference in your ability to adapt. And so for a long time, when we moved from second generation to third generation to 4G and 5G technologies, we've lost the foundations of coding. And I think I experienced that about 5-6 years back when we were trying to bring changes into our own organization, and we realized that with the big data world around analytics, a lot of coding was coming back. And so the people who are much better equipped to code were much faster in adapting to the new changes in technology, and they were able to pick it up much faster. So I would say my first point is differentiate between tool versus the technology when you are developing a technical skill, and understand, how am I really understanding the concepts and the foundation. And I remember, even in my old days when I thought I was starting my RDBMS journey many years back, and I'd done about 1 year of Oracle at that time. One of my seniors asked me, is an index a physical object or is it just virtual? And most of us didn't have an answer. And so, how you think about when you develop code, when you understand these foundational things, makes a very big difference in how you will actually implement them. So I would say definitely, if the landscape is changing way too fast, that you can't almost be abreast of all technologies. So the first thing would be around developing foundational skills. The second one I would say, in developing, to becoming a technologist would be, do you want to go broad versus do you want to go deep? A lot of people, 6 weeks it takes to probably learn a tool and they want to jump to the next one. What we're seeing is clients will continue to value technologists when they are experts. So knowing how to utilize the GUI is very different from being an expert in the tool. And it's both are equally important choices, and you don't need to be one or the other. It can be both sometimes, but each one of them have a different thing. So we can say I'm a broad user of many types of technologies, and clients appreciate that because you can be the person who understands and guide them on which direction to go. Today, for example, in the cloud sense, if we are using GCP, Google Cloud versus Azure versus AWS, clients are still battling with the choices on which one should I go with. Not necessarily that you're a deep AWS expert or a deep Azure expert, but do you have enough knowledge to guide the clients around saying which is the right choice you make based on your own requirements? But at the same time, clients also need, once they make the choice, and let's say they've gone with an AWS as a choice, then are you really the super deep expert who keeps abreast of everything that is happening in AWS? 2 years back, when Amazon had their event in the US, they talked about 5,280 releases they did that year. Right? It's impossible for us to understand all the Google services, all the AWS services, but are you being relevant to your client is very important, that you're able to give them the right choice. And when you're deep in one, then that's a very different approach. But make a choice upfront and start thinking about, when you call yourself a technologist and you want to develop your technical skills, do you want to go broad, do you want to go to deep? Make a mix of both. The third point I would say is, are you pure techie versus do you understand the business implications of that technology that you're building? So of course there's a need for pure techies, but again, if you look at it, that technology is not in isolation. Almost all technology solves a business problem. Then make sure you're also keeping yourself abreast of what problem am I solving. So I can develop some Java code, I can develop reports, I can develop a UI portal, but what is the customer's business that I'm actually enabling to happen? Gives one, of course, ourselves a better sense of purpose on what we are trying to achieve for the customer. But at the same time, the understanding of the business makes the value that comes out of your technical skills much stronger. So I would say don't ignore that. For a long time, there's been people who will be pure techies, but I don't know how they are going to use it. Will probably not be a great answer. And then finally, this last point that I'm talking about will also plays into this previous one. Uh, Doing a piece of code and developing a technical skill versus knowing how to develop that for at scale. So if I'm developing, you know, one piece of code, or I'm developing a portal today, I think one, the understanding of business, like I told earlier. But if I have to do this, 5 times in my career over the next 5 years, develop a new portal for a new client multiple times, or I'm doing a AWS cloud infrastructure build for my client, but at the same time, I'm going to do that again and again multiple times. Are you thinking about how to abstract some of the work, or are you going to rebuild it from scratch all over again? So that mindset of productization, the mindset of standardization, and saying, how can I scale this? And each time the clients will not be ready to pay the same amount of money or dollars to rebuild it from scratch. Can I do it faster, cheaper, better every time I do this? And if you're not able to answer that question, then are you really truly a technical developer, or are you a copy paste person? So I think you want to again hone that skill in a very good way to make sure you can replicate that and replicate it at scale. And at scale means your productivity increases with each implementation. So I would leave with these, four big thoughts, something to explore. And a lot of these are
Lovely.
lessons I've learned in a tough way also. So.
I am impressed by the blend of every critical, element that you've just laid down for us, Suresh. I think right from the foundational to identifying what you are is the primary, what should I say? Maybe the primary goal of every developer to understand what they want to be and where they would want to go in the future, right? As the recruiters ask, where do you see yourself 5 years down the lane? That is a very generic question that people ask, but those 5 years, how you utilize and how you see yourself growing is something that you yourself envision and not the other person. So thank you so much for that. I would now move to Dinesh. Dinesh, one of the most undervalued skills a developer needs is the skill of decision making. And as Suresh mentioned, you have to understand the balance between the implications onto the business and how it works, the technology works. So that is how to improve the decision making, the process of decision making in developers. How can they focus on that area and improve themselves?
Yes, Sukriti. So the way I look at decision making, it's something that is a cultural thing. It has to be built into the culture to allow people to do something that they want to do. So I would think the word that sits at the center of this is delegation. But at the same time, delegation is the most abused and misused word in the industry. You delegate things, but you do not authorize people to do things, right? So delegation always has to go along with authorization and empowerment of our people, right? So while I say this in one sentence, all these three words, delegation, authorization, and empowerment, are pretty big words. Delegate. I've seen organizations, of course, never worked for any of them, but I've seen where we have seen managers and directors yelling at people. Gone are those times. You'll not have people listening to that anymore, right? Yesterday, I was at a college. I was trying to hire new campus recruits, and these guys have written books. These guys already have applications on Google Play Store, and these guys are writing blogs on technology. Can you imagine? These aren't the guys who need to be told what is to be done, right? So while I said delegation, authority, and empowerment, I think there's another aspect to it, which is a what and how part of anything that we want people to do, right? I think as managers, as leaders, yes, we have to paint the vision. We have to tell people what is to be done. But I think one of the things we have to learn doing is leave the how part to people. Unless we stop telling people how to do things, we'll not be able to get the creative best out of them, right? So this is something that I keep telling all my directs, and I tell my directs to tell to their directs all the time, that guys, we don't need to tell people how to do things. We just need to tell them what to be done, and let them go and play wild. One of the things which I personally practice a lot is, of course, all these years we have heard lead from the front, lead from the front. Trust me, in my experience, I've given away lead from the front thing. I'm the leader who leads from the back. I allow people to go and play out in the wild area, whatever they want to do. At the same time, keeping a check on them. As soon as they try to get outside the boundaries, that's where I jump in and bring them in. Giving them a whole playground to play allows them to try things, allows them to try and fail. Even as parents, I think this is built up so much into us that we don't allow our kids to fail. We are making everything easy for them. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that we are doing. We need to allow them to try, allow them to fail, allow them to get into the wild out there and face the music. This is not something that we are allowing. In these high stressful situations, we want to be successful in the first try. I think that's something that we should give away. Let's allow people to try and fail, because that's when they would learn. Then that's when they would share with each other and learn. So delegation, authority, and allowing them and empowering them to do whatever they want, at the same time keeping a check, so that they don't go two-way around, start playing golf in the office where they are supposed to go do deliveries, right? So we have to keep those checks and balances. But I think it's a different world. We are today, with millennials, we are dealing with a different breed. They are no longer people who need to be told what needs to be done. They just need to be told what is to be done. Leave the how part to them. Allow them flexibility, allow them creativity to use them, and be open. I think we as leaders, me, Suresh, Varsha, and Pramida, we have to unlearn a lot of things that we have learned in past of our lives. We have to unlearn a lot of things and learn new things and new ways of doing things. I'll stop here, and Sukriti, I'll give the dash back to you to take it forward.
Thanks, Dinesh. I think some very, very valid points made here. People in today's time have explored things so much already that if you just tell them that this is what we want, they would give you, things beyond your expectations, and they would come up with ideas that you never thought. And I think that's one of the reasons that the entire format of conducting coding competitions, hackathons, and working on solutions and giving them the problem statements has, we've tried and encouraged it so much that we see people coming up with the most innovative and exclusive ideas that even the people within the organization wouldn't have thought, right? And we see people doing this, maybe freshers, maybe students from the college come up with certain things, right? The kind of intelligence that we are looking at in this digital age is beyond our imagination. And as you mentioned very well, that we kind of have to unlearn certain things, because those are kind of conventional that we used to. Now we have to get into what others are using and how the entire implementation process goes on for them, because I think when a couple of minds, the innovative minds, come together, that's exactly wherein the business is impacted positively, negatively, both, right? So looking at that, thank you so much, Dinesh, for those pointers. Pramida, I'll move to you. Why is the upskilling and reskilling, and the leaving the parts which is like conventional, is always a win-win strategy for software developers? And how can these strategies be introduced into a business by creating a career pathing program to reach business objectives? Because it's very important. We've been discussing this, that it's important to know the implications of what you're working on to, and it has to be very, very much parallelly drawn, understood, analyzed with the business objectives and where we are growing. Because in the end, we as individuals work for the organization and the objective that it serves. So just help us understand around these strategies, and how can businesses put this into practice.
So coming to your first question of this win-win strategy, right? I think Suresh and Dinesh have told a lot actually about this thing, how it is a winning strategy to upskill yourself, as Suresh was telling. he has been working from mainframes to current latest technologies and all. It's all because he has been able to upscale himself. And as Dinesh was telling, the people, like currently the generation or the curriculum of the colleges is entirely different. So when I studied, I hardly had to learn C++ or C and Java and some bit about databases. But now if you see right in the curriculum itself, people are ingraining all these artificial intelligence, machine learning algorithms and all these things. So now if we are not ready to upskill, actually that means that you have to be on par with the now next generation of the millennials. You have to upskill yourself. I think we have sold enough of the upskilling, but reskilling part, I have seen a lot of people being hesitant to reskill themselves. Like upskilling they do usually because the company asks them to do, or because if you are, for example, if you are a front-end developer and if you are working on Angular, you usually move to React, that you upskill yourself. But reskilling, usually people tend to do like moving to a different domain or learning entirely a different technology which they are not comfortable with. Usually people hesitate. Let me share my personal story actually. So I've been working with networking domains in C and C++ only for almost for 7 years. So I have upskilled myself, learning design patterns and all these things, from C to C++ and all. But at one point of my career, I was struck actually. I was like, I could not go further because of my location constraint and all. I could not find more opportunities in networking domain and all. But at that point, I had to take a leap, thinking that no, I have to move to a different domain. And I was very hesitant. I had to talk to a lot of people to make sure that I'm making the right decision and all. But then I took the leap of faith and joined Thoughtworks, which is into an entirely different domain of web application development and other things actually. And it proved really beneficial to my career actually. So I know that I had to work hard and to reskill myself or learn new technologies entirely. I had to know everything right from how the front end works, back end works, databases, everything. I had to learn new things right from earlier. It was only about learning about the small C++ things, but now it has changed everything. But it proved very beneficial to my career actually. So just not upskilling, even reskilling is a winning strategy for people actually, for users. But when you think of a company also, now when I talk to people who have recruited me, because I did not know anything about the technologies that I'm working on, but they were able to recruit me, the simple strategy of them, not just hiring people who are in their technology, but people who can have the capability of learning. So that strategy, they thought, like, can this person learn new things or not? Adding that to your recruitment strategy itself is a winning approach to a company, because now they say that, yeah, actually you're a good hire. So we don't want to lose on good people just because they don't know this technology or a tool actually. As Suresh was also telling, tools people can learn. Technology or the core principles, first principles are the essential things that people need to know. So it proves to be a beneficial or win-win strategy for both companies as well as people when you are able to reskill. Or even if you take companies, right, like you can't say as a company, which is a very old thing, you can't say that I just want to be on mainframe, or I just want to be on Oracle, or I just want to do Flash. Flash is nowhere there actually. Now current one is, browser is supporting Flash. You can't say that I want to be here. So if you are a company with a growth mindset, you have to actually keep reskilling yourself, or you have to keep upgrading to latest technologies. And one more strategy I see is, usually businesses know, almost all the business owners know what is the advantages of going ahead or moving to new technologies in terms of business. But other thing which I also see is retaining of the talent actually. So if you are giving a challenging problem or something to learn to your employees, that motivates a lot of people actually. So it helps them to be, it helps the company to retain all the talent, because you're able to give them something challenging to work on, something new to learn on actually. And when you talk about the strategies, there are multiple strategies, but simple things, as I was telling, right, like making sure that your recruitment takes care of learning things, and also making sure that there is vast abundance of material out there in the internet. If you wanted to learn, there are a lot of hackathons being conducted. If someone wants to learn something, all the company can start with is providing a business can start with providing a pathway actually. Like if I wanted to upgrade myself into latest technology, or if I want a new project to be done onto new technology, then creating a pathway saying that, okay, don't get boggled down with so many sources, just start here, the next step, you can do all these things. Of course, they can always create new content, but what I think is there is abundance out there, and you can just curate the content and give it to the people so that they can upskill themselves. That could be one strategy businesses can occur. And obviously, for product-based companies, they usually keep trending to upgrade themselves in the technologies. For consulting companies, it's always good to seek for new projects that are in the latest technologies, actually, because without that foundational or working knowledge, you really can't reskill or upskill yourself, actually. So that could be one strategy where you're always working on or searching for the new projects which will work on the latest technologies, actually.
Thank you, Pramida. I think your own experience of learning within Thoughtworks itself is a huge and a good example for our developers to understand the curve that they need to focus on. Varsha, I'll move to you now. We were talking about the careers, the objectives, being more aspirational towards our strategies and to look up to something. Why are career goals for software developers important, and how these goals help in exploring opportunities and working towards their objectives?
Okay, good question, because these days, right, we work a lot and we keep, working, but we don't know, or we don't define where we want to, because sometimes, right, we keep following probably what is the shiny object. For example, when AI ML came, it was like, and then a lot of us just started doing AI ML courses because it's new and there is huge demand. And then when the data science came up, okay, a lot of us started learning data science, but yeah, without actually defining or knowing where we want to be. Let me share a story, actually, which is my personal story, okay, which is around 25 years, before, I did not know, okay, what I want to do and where I want to reach. So I did not prepare anything at all. And I barely completed my graduation, which was in arts. And that days, and then those days, we did not have a lot of options. We had only bank PO, doctor, engineer, and CA, etc. But I still did not know what I want to do. So I got into arts and I completed the graduation. Still did not know what to do and what I want to and where I want to reach. So with great difficulty, I took up a primary school teacher job, and I was teaching the students maths and science in a fairly new school. And it went on. But then there was something which struck me, that is this something which I want to do for life? And the answer was no. So then what to do? Then after a great calibration, after exploring CA, after giving bank PO exam, and after giving few other exams and all that as well, I closed that no, software engineer is what I want to do. I tried my hands a bit here and there, and I said, okay, this is something which I'm enjoying. But how? Because I was an arts graduate, don't have any experience, computer was not available. So okay, three things which I defined the strategy for me. First, I need to do some certification. So I started working towards it. Second thing was that because I was already a teacher, let me take up a teaching job in a computer institute, because those days there were a lot of computer institute, AppTech, UpTech, and all that, okay, which was there, which will actually give me exposure and would actually help me increase my knowledge, because people will ask a lot of questions actually at that particular point of time. So I took up a job to teach MS Office to elderly, right? Because those days computers were getting introduced in offices. The third thing which that I need to practice programming. But now how do I practice programming? So I took a deal with my computer institute where I was teaching, that I will do teaching. You give me 3 hours. You give me the computer for 3 hours to practice programming. So all that I did for a year, these 3 things I did for a year, and I was able to restart my career. How did that happen? because I was working towards a single goal and I defined 3 steps that, okay, these 3 things will take me there. Otherwise, it was very difficult on those days when we did not have any of such initiatives, okay, which we have right now, with, I mean, where we can change our careers or where we can do all. So these things are very, very important, defining the goal and working, towards it. And these days, even in the software industry also, we have huge number of options. I mean, right, we can be IC, like, I mean, Pramida was saying, right, that we can be a developer, we can be a lead, we can be a technical architect, domain architect, functional architect. There are n number of things on what we want to do. So what is our niche? Identifying that, defining that, and working towards it is very, very important. The other thing which Suresh has touched on is understanding the business implication also for what we want to do, and does this industry excite me? Right? For example, domain. So there are n number of domains what we have right now: banking, marketing, sales, and so on. So for me, even though I am working on sales also as of now, because marketing and sales are closely related, but marketing is the industry which really excites me, and I keep learning and I keep improving my skills on that, and I am identified as a marketing technology leader as of now, which is my brand. So establishing a brand is also very, very important, right? The other thing I would say, which I have seen actually a lot, is at times we define goals that, okay, like you said, I want to reach here in 5 years, or I want to do this in a year, or I want to do that in 2 years, but we don't define short-term milestones on how we want to do. Then the long goal for 1 year actually keeps us tired. Oh man, I am working towards the same thing for a year. So defining very small milestones is also very, very important. It does actually help a lot in it motivates us, because we are winning every 2 weeks or every month. I mean, right? It fills us with pride that, hey, I achieved something. I mean, right? And that is something which we can share with our managers, because when we are defining the goals into our system, or professional goals, then those are visible to our managers and to our organization also, and they also identify you that, okay, this is the person, okay, which can who can define, who can plan, and who can execute the things in a systematic way and win over it also, right? So these are the things. But yeah, on a lighter note, when your annual review will happen, your manager will remember that, okay, yeah, this person has defined milestone and is winning and winning and winning every week or every month. So those defining, but working on it, and executing, but defining the milestones is also very, very important. And as I said, establishing the brand is also very important. The other thing on how we can work towards our aspirations, as Suresh has mentioned, is by identifying the business implications also. See, everybody has degree and everybody has skills, more or less. There are n number of options where we can learn. So how do we distinguish ourselves from others? Is by communicating our value in a way which everybody can understand, right? For example, let me say that, hey, somebody asked me, I met a senior leader in on a floor. He was visiting, and I said, hey, I am working on config engine. What's config engine, right? Instead of me saying, hey, I am helping VMware doing SaaS transformation by defining real-time product configuration. If I communicate this kind of value, everybody from my manager to the CEO will understand what is she working on, right? And how is she adding value. Always make sure that you are communicating the value in a way which everybody can understand. Keep your elevator pitch ready always, so that people can remember you even if they are meeting you just once. The other thing which is very important actually is to get where you want to be and to meet your aspirations, is to make sure that you are just not following requirements, because that is, again, everybody can do. How are you observing what is important for the company and what is important for your team? Are you adding value in the direction? Then no, this is not the right thing to do. I believe this is the right thing to do. And either you convince the folks, or let them convince you that whatever they are asking you to do is the right thing to do. Right? So this is also very, very important. The other thing which I would say to reach your aspirations is networking, which is knowing people in your circle, outside of your circle also is very, very important. I can narrate a story which I just was just reading. Today morning itself, there was a person. His name ends with Nahata, and he did his graduation in India. Then he went to US, and he was doing some course actually in Yale University. Right, it was in 2020 when he was supposed to complete his course. Right, but yeah, while he was excited that he is completing his course, but then he was also disappointed that he is not finding any job. Because it was, 2020, obviously, corona, and people were, and organizations were laying off people compared to hiring people. And that too, Donald Trump at that particular point of time put a restrictions on the visa, so nobody was ready to sponsor his visa. So he kept trying and trying and trying, nothing worked out. So he took a different approach. What is that approach? Networking. He sent 600 cold emails and 80 plus cold calls to by identifying the people over various professional networks. Within 2 months, he had 4 offers, including the World Bank offer also, and he accepted. Not only the job, they wanted him to do a white paper, a research paper with a director in the organization. So that's a power of networking. If we think that, hey, we don't know people, how do we start? But that's not. There are n number of platforms on which we can start right now. So that's what I would say. Yeah, networking, keep upskilling, as Pramida mentioned, and keep giving opportunities. So it's not only the responsibility of the individuals, actually, as Dinesh has mentioned, that trusting and giving them a free hand is also the responsibility of the organization. And what's our responsibility is to make sure that we are communicating our value, we are defining the goals, we are defining the milestones, and we always have our elevator pitch with us. Back to you, Sukriti, with that.
Thanks, Varsha. I'm kind of trying to contemplate how beautiful narratives each one of you have shared. Right from your own experiences of, of course, professionally growing, to Dinesh and Suresh talking about, from the business perspective, to both of you, Pramida and Varsha, both of you covering your own personal experiences and how things can change if you want. I think I'm so delighted that we had this conversation, and we are bringing out these narratives for people to learn and set examples that there is no time for change. You can always pick up any moment that you want to do it, and even if you are directionless for some time, it's just that one realization that you're stuck with, that this is not what you want to do, right? And that realization itself is the biggest motivation to look upon, explore, and then maybe just see that this is exactly what you would want to do and make a career into it. So lovely. I am so delighted to hear each one of you, and the stories are so warming. I'm sure the developers here listening to us, watching us here in this conversation today, are equally delighted and overwhelmed with the learnings that you have had. Last one, for the conversation, of course, I would want one tip from each one of you, that what growth strategies our developers can look at. What do you, as experts, as seniors in this field, recommend? So let's begin with you, Pramida.
For me, right, what worked well, based on my personal experience, is being organized. Like, just like Varsha was also telling, right, I had this input, like, if I wanted to reskill or upskill myself in a certain technology, I know where I want to be, and then making a plan out of it. Okay, I'll be doing this course, making the curated courses, or I'll do this, I'll build this I'll build this application in this technology, or if I wanted to learn something, I'll read these books. So making a plan first, and then being very organized and taking one step at a time, actually. So because you can't, like if today if I wanted to learn AI or ML, that looks very ambitious, and I can't, but the problem is I can't do it within a day or two. Today I'll say that, okay, I want to become an expert. I can't, in a week I can't come and say that, oh, I know everything about it. You can't do that, actually. And if you even if you want to do it, you are already working professional. You are not a student who can spend a lot of time and energy on the or on things, actually. So even that, taking out 1 hour a day and being organized and making it regularly, making sure that you do it regularly, keeping the consistency is the key, they say, right? Keeping it consistent and learning and achieving the smaller goals for you actually will make wonders. You will never know, maybe after 2 or 3 months, without even your knowledge, you would have read many books, you would have had already so much knowledge. That actually really helps. Being organized and being consistent is my mantra, actually, for this.
Thank you, Pramida. Varsha?
Yes, I believe Pramida has covered very good points. The additional thing I would say is learn to say no. Because it's not that keep doing the work 16-17 hours in a day is what going to add value. Even if you work for 7-8 hours in a day or 5-6 hours in a day, but if you're working on the right thing and not just keeping yourself busy, is what going to help. If you think something is not adding value, if you think that you do not want to do something, say no, but learn the art to say no. That is one thing which I would say for sure. And upskilling, I mean, reskilling, all of us spoken about. And apart from that, as I said, establishing your brand and being visible is very, very important. Now, how can you establish your brand apart from with your work? Observe, participate in discussions, participate in hackathons, borathons, participate in other competitions, okay, which are happening. Mentor and coach the people whosoever you can help. Participate in company meetings, ask questions, share your knowledge, and gain also from the people. The more you communicate with the people, the more you will learn actually from that. The other thing which I would say is get a mentor and a coach and a sponsor. Most of the time we get mentor and coach, but those are not sponsors. Means they would uh, say that, okay, this is what you should do, this is what you should do, this is what you should do. But at times we need sponsor also, somebody who can recommend us for an elevated role, somebody who can say about us that, hey, this person has this and this skill, maybe he or she is the right person for this particular job. So invest time in getting a right mentor and a coach. And if you think that, okay, you want to get this particular mentor only, if you're impressed by a person, by a particular person, try and reach out. Don't hesitate. As I said, networking, right? Doing cold calls got Nahata a job in World Bank. So if you want a specific mentor, coach, and a sponsor for yourself, invest time in reaching out to that particular person. So getting sponsorship is important.
Thanks, Varsha. Suresh?
So I would just say that there are very exciting days ahead. You know, the change in technology and the disruption that we have seen in the last 6 to 8 years is almost what the world went through in 60 years. So you know, it's changing fast, and I think there's more exciting days ahead. I'm very, I'm almost have this FOMO, fear of missing out of, what this next generation is going to experience, because they're going to experience one of the best days of how this is going to change. So make sure, we don't stagnate. It's very easy to get into a comfort zone and then 5 years realize that it's difficult to make that change. So keep constantly reskilling, upskilling, to Pramida's point. And Varsha, you made some really good points. I think they are really nice guidelines for others to follow.
Thank you, Suresh. Dinesh?
Wonderful comments, Varsha. Great story, Pramida. You hit on the right notes when you said, organization need to get right projects. And Suresh, you rightly said there are exciting times ahead of us. This is something that I keep telling my teams and whoever I talk to, especially in my peer groups, that guys, you as an individual are the owner of your career, right? I'm not, nobody else is. An individual is the owner of his own career. There are three forces I think which are very important for anybody's growth. The first one is when your manager pulls you up. This is something that used to happen traditionally in many organizations. The favorites gets on the top. Those are the gone times, right? The second one, which is still important in these days, is when your peers pushes you up. You are working in a competitive world. You need to earn that respect. A lot of times when people are at the same level, all of a sudden one of those five goes up and starts becoming a leader of the rest of four. They need to respect you to accept you. So you have to start doing things where you automatically become an accepted leader among what you are doing. So that's another force which is very important. And to earn respect, you have to do things differently. I've not read too many books in my life. One of the books I've read and remember is You Can Win from Shiv Khera, and he says, you have to do things differently to win. You can't keep doing the same things and get different outcomes. And I totally believe in it. And I think the third and the most important force, which I think is very important for anybody's career, is own your own career. Your manager can only provide you opportunities. Your peers are a competition which will push you hard. But if you don't get hold of your career and you don't steer it in the right direction, no opportunities, no technology, no good work, no good company, nothing would help you. So it is, you are the owner of your own career, guys. See the opportunities, hang on to them, change things the way you want to do, use your freedom and extra time to do that something extra that will make a difference, right? In an office, in a team, we work in agile, there are scrum teams of 8 and 9 people, right? Everybody is trying to do their best, but something extra is what makes you different. Identify that something extra, innovate that something extra, do that extra mile, and that's what's going to make you successful. That's where I'll stop, Sukriti.
Thank you, Dinesh. And to add on to each one of you, I think for me, having these conversations for 2.5 years almost now with the tech leaders, with the recruiters, I think I've learned so much. Even these conversations have helped me understand, have helped me, motivate, learn, and know about so many things that I probably didn't know 3-4 years back, and how things are changing, how you as experts suggest people to work out their career goals, and we are a facilitator of these things, right? And at an individual level, for me, it's so much of learning. And all that I've been able to talk is because of these conversations that I've had, and I keep on having with experts like you. So thank you, a big thank you to each one of you for being a part of this conversation. I had a great time listening to each one of you, and I hope our developers also, who are watching us live on social, will have some of the best key takeaways from the beautiful narratives that each one of you have shared. Dinesh, Suresh, Varsha, and Pramida, thank you so much. I'm so glad, with this conversation, and all of you were on board with this, and couldn't ask for anything else. The kind of insights that each one of you have shared. Thank you so much. I'm overwhelmed, and I'm so grateful to each one of you for being here. Audience, thank you for watching us. Stay tuned to TechGig for all the latest tech updates. We keep on hosting these shows for you, and I would come back next week with something new. Stay tuned, and please stay safe and take care. Dinesh, Suresh, Varsha, and Pramida, thank you once again.
Thanks a lot, Sukriti. Thanks, my co-panelist. It was good to hear you all.
Yeah, it was great insights from all of you.
Great discussion, enjoyed it.
Thanks, Sukriti. I think good for hosting something like this. I think it's very valuable for the next set of people.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, I agree. Great.